Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just called out the Supreme Court justices in a piece she did on CNN. She hit the nail on the head. A few months ago, actually a few years ago, I pointed out that what Republicans were doing were ensuring that they control the judiciary by packing the Supreme Court, by packing the lower levels of the district courts, etc., to ensure that even if progressive pass laws that people want, that they would still be empowered to deny progressives and the American people the particular laws with the values they support. In other words, Republicans understand that they support policies that most Americans do not want. And in the process, they know they needed a mechanism within the Constitution to deny Americans the policies that they want in order to support the policies that the plutocrats, the oligarchs, the corporatists want. And they've done a major part towards that in packing the Supreme Court with not real judges, but simply appendages of the fascist state. Now, Alexandria Cortez says what many know needs to be done, and that is for judges that pretty much sold their seats, they need to be impeached, and the court needs to be added with Supreme Court justices to fulfill one per circuit court, meaning 4 additional justices, as well as to mitigate the justices that were stolen from the Obama administration and others. Listen to what she had to say, then we'll take it on the other side.
Congresswoman, you've called on President Biden to expand the Supreme Court to 13 justices. I want you to listen to what President Biden said.
I think if we start the process of trying to expand the court, we're going to politicize it maybe forever in a way that is not healthy.
That you can't get back.
That you can't get back.
I'd like you to respond to that. And also, you mentioned a moment ago judicial review. Are you also saying that the justices' power should somehow be limited?
I truly do. And this is not a new development in history. This is part of our system of checks and balances. The courts, if they were to proceed without any check on their power, without any balance on their power, then we will start to see an undemocratic and frankly dangerous authoritarian expansion of power in the Supreme Court, which is what we are seeing now, from the overturning of abortion rights to the ruling that discrimination and frankly stripping the full personhood and dignity of LGBTQ people in the United States. These are the types of rulings that signal a dangerous creep towards authoritarianism and centralization of power in the court. In fact, we have members of the court themselves, with Justice Elena Kagan, saying that the court is beginning to assume the power of a legislature. And right now, whether it is expansion of the court.
How do you do that? Are you proposing a law? Or a bill?
There's several ways. First, we have a Senate Judiciary Committee that is beginning the process of investigating the entanglements and conflicts of interest. Just 1 to 2 weeks before the student loan ruling, the country learned that Justice Samuel Alito was accepting gifts from billionaires who were lobbying against Supreme Court that were lobbying before the Supreme Court against student loan forgiveness. Just weeks before, we learned that he was accepting gifts from them and travel and vacations from them before he decided to vote and rule in their favor. And so I believe that if Chief Justice Roberts will not come before Congress for an investigation voluntarily, I believe that we should be considering subpoenas. We should be considering investigations. We must pass much more binding and stringent ethics guidelines where we see members of the Supreme Court potentially breaking the law, as we saw in the refusal, with Clarence Thomas to recuse himself from cases implicating his wife in January 6th. There also must be impeachment on the table. We have a broad level of tools to deal with misconduct, overreach, and abuse of power. And the Supreme Court has not been receiving the adequate oversight necessary in order to preserve their own legitimacy. And in the process, they themselves have been destroying the legitimacy of the court, which is profoundly dangerous for our entire democracy.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez nails it. It is imperative that going forward, We elect progressive politicians that are not fearful to make the changes to the judiciary that is necessary. That means if we must impeach judges who have sold their seats, we must do so and be bold in doing so. And likewise, if we have a judiciary that is stacked, as what was done when McConnell held back the Obama's choice for the president, that must be mitigated. So therefore, going forward, one of the litmus tests must be you are willing to fix the Supreme Court by all means necessary.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.